What's up, guys? We got our infamous chain burn player in the local area. He, let's, how about you introduce yourself? Tell us your name and tell us how you did at the regional this past weekend.
Hi, as you might have seen my previous video, my name is G Moon. I played the term Chainless Burn from my previous video. I placed top 8 in the Atlanta regional this past Sunday. And I didn't use Chain Burn for that one. Unfortunately, I had to play the one deck that always cucked my deck hard, which was Trickstar, and then meshed it up with the Sky Striker. Hybrid to make that deck. So we'll start into the deck right now. So, typical will be 3 Candina, 3 Licorice, and 1 Lilybell. So one thing to note is that I've seen a lot of hybrid decks go with 2 Licorices, but I think with the format going heavily onto Infinite Impermanence and Ghost Ogre being popular again, having a 3rd Licorice is actually really great, and it protects your Candina from getting blown up. Now we go with the hand traps. We got the Lollies, 3 of the Ash Blossom. Not the same rarity, but I got them. Great for the event. 3 Droll. Obviously that's standard for Trickstars because of the reincarnation when they can't do much. And 1 Ghost Ogre. This would have been in place for Infinite Impermanence, but the problem was I just didn't have it, so I thought this was a great replacement or substitution for that card. So that's it for my hand traps. Then here comes the typical Magnite hybrid along with it. 2 Purple Nightfall, 1 Blue Sky, and then 1 Indigo Eclipse. One interesting thing was that typically you wanted to have these going second, but the person who topped at the Nationals, I've actually got to meet him in Anime Expo because he went there and competed. He stated that even going first, he recommended I'd only sided out Blue Sky and 1 Purple Nightfall, just because of how good it is going first. You could still use Purple Nightfall, and then once you have a Sky Striker card out, because of Kagari in the extra zone, and then you set him a spell or trap card in the back row, and then you would just have it there. So we'll go into the spells. Typical would be the 3 Terraforming, just so that you could get 3 Light Sage, good old not yet hit by the ban with Scapegoat, 3 Called by the Grave. One thing to note is that I think Called by the Grave is still really great just because of the fact that I get hit by hand traps. Droll especially would hit this deck really hard because we won't be able to get out a board that's strong enough to hold out on its own because we search so much with the Trickstar engine, Mech Knight engine, and Sky Striker engine. Then we go into the Sky Striker engine. 3 of the Engages, 3 of the Hornet Drones, and only just 1 Afterburner and no Widow Anchors, because the idea is that you're trying to set up going first. I mean, sure, this is going second, but you could at least set up and be able to play it when going second. Compared to Widow Anchor, it only negates, so it's really hard to play it when you already have a monster in your normal main monster zone. So in that case, it's better off just being used in the pure Sky Striker zone deck. So, and it also is harder to use the second effective Widow Anchor because you most likely won't have 3 spells in your grave by then. And finally for the traps, typical, gonna get hit, Trickstar Reincarnation. That'll be standard for the main deck.
What did you think about Pot of Desires?
So the problem with Pot of Desires was that I feel like banishing my cards, like just 10 randomly, one of them could have been Lilybell, which I only played 1 of, which would have been bad. Hitting a Candina would have been bad. Any reincarnations would have been bad just to draw 2, and most of the time they might just Ash Blossom that. So me getting banished 10 cards compared to any of the other draw, or add to my hand cards, is better off, in my opinion. So I don't think Pot of Desires was that great for my deck.
Okay, that's fair. Yeah, Lilybell facilitates a lot of the combos of the deck, and I guess it also makes sense too where I know at least at the WCQ it was after playing Desires and then immediately getting Drolled, it's okay, but it does kind of shut you off from doing anything else. I'd almost, if I'm going to get Drolled, sometimes I'd almost prefer being able to like Candina first and then get Drolled instead of Desires first and get Drolled. So I guess that's a fair point.
Yeah, I guess technically a replacement for the Pot of Desires would have been the Mekk-Knight engines.
Oh yeah,
themselves,
that's right. Yeah,
because
that's right. Yeah.
Like all of them by themselves pretty much add cards to your hand for sure. But
Yeah, that's true.
it's
Yeah.
better that they would ash that and you still have a card, like a monster on the board. And especially in the mirror, it's like a huge beater that they have to survive with if they don't run any Mekk-Knights in their deck.
Okay.
So that's a good like substitute in terms of Pot of Desires.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, the Mekk-Knights kind of replace Pot of Desires.
Yeah. So we got the extra deck. Two Kagari, one Shizuku, and one Hayate. Hayate, great addition to this hybrid format. The only reason I think that it's super great is because even going second in game 3, that's you get this out and you hit them and you end your turn, you might have just won, just with the life points damage. Also, another thing is that if it's going like far and like into the game, and you already used
kind of like
all
late game?
yeah, you could say like 5 turns in maybe on like just only your turns. Is that you might have already used and searched with your engages, and you still might have an engage in your deck. But the problem is, if you drew that, you can't use it because you only can get out Hornet Drones and Afterburners. But if you've already have them in the graveyard, you cannot add it with engage.
Yeah, you might
So
not
at that
have any
point,
targets.
You just use Hayate, attack, use the effect, send the engage, so that your next top deck card is, it's not going to be a dead card. Next we have some of the nightmares. I got Mermaid here, I got Goblin here, and then I have the Phoenix Unicorn. So mainly for the Mermaid, I think it was only just because if I had to play against a Goki and they set up a board where they didn't, most of the time they do, but if they don't have an extra link on me, I can use their ability and be able to get out Mermaid and then play around it. And if I have the Sky Striker tokens and then link away and then be able to play at least. The other link monsters I got would be, Link Kuribo, that's standard. Link Spider, Space Insulator, that was the typical add-in that people had. I had Topologic Bomber Dragon, Overload, still great card, amazing, just to take control. A new one I added in that was recent, which was the Boral Sword Dragon. I never got to use it. I did have one opportunity. I thought I could use it, but I thought it was just better to get out Overload and take their monster because I was against a Dino deck. And he got out the ultimate Conductor Tyranno. So, and then the last one, Firewall Dragon, obviously for that OTK combo. And, I got my amazing tokens right here. The Ojamas. I'm missing yellow. I'm looking for that one. The super rare, just to make it, consistent. And then the Sky Striker token.
Would you consider playing the dinosaur card over this? I mean, I guess there's not much difference between the two, but there's a dinosaur link that links downward. It helps make summon sorcerers. I think it's like rogue.
It's a link too?
Yeah.
What are the requirements for summoning it?
I think it's just 2 monsters.
It's just 2 monsters?
Yeah, it allows you to the monster that it points to once it's summoned. You can make it the same type.
So, so one thing I would say about that might not work. I mean, sure, same type is fine, but that leads up to summon sorcerers, but I'm not going to run that. Space Insulator has the other effect, which is when another Cyber's monster gets special summoned, or link summoned if I believe.
Oh yeah, that's right, yeah.
This comes out.
Okay, yeah.
And you have Topologic right there.
Yeah.
That can proc it, which is insanely great.
Better.
So in that case, it's like, that's good.
Top Logic or maybe even Firewall, huh? Okay.
Yeah, even Firewall's effect if that monster gets taken away. And then now we got into my side deck. I have 2 Night Beams. I usually ran 3 for the mirror, but after so many Gokis players are being used right now, I just assumed that less Trickstar Sky Strikers are being played. So I had to make a little bit of a tech change and assume that less ratios. Next was 2 Ghost Ogres. So this is where the playset comes in from 1 in my main deck for the Goki, because I know that it's going to be so prevalent. 2 Solemn Strikes. That was a new tech in that I was told from the top 4 nationals Trickstar Sky Striker player. Since if I lost first game and then go into game 2, set up a board, they're gonna play around Trickstar Reincarnation better, or more so, and not think it's gonna be a Solemn Strike. Spear mode going second still works well. I mean, breaks the Goki board. If you have any Mech Knights still in your deck, in your hand, when you have this card out, you can summon away because you're not limited to special summon. The only thing is that you can't normal summon, but that's whatever if you could break their board. Heavy Storm Duster. Can't really run Twin Twister because I feel like discarding a card is too much of a risk for this deck because almost every card is valuable. And the only times it would be bad is, if I was Secret Village. Secret Village would screw over a Twin Twister. Anti-Spell Fragrance. If they already got it out. Infinite Permanence. So Heavy Storm Duster seems a lot better in that sense. And then the last 3 would be Shared Ride. Just because adding, you want to draw. Mostly for my... I didn't see many in the event. Most of the decks I played against was like 2 Dokokis, 2 Pure Sky Striker, 1 Mirror, but he didn't play any of the Mech Knights, and he played Pot of Desires actually. So it was a very good balance, I think, for the tournament. So I got a good idea of what's actually good or not. So, I mean, I still think that Goki is going to be the top deck, but I think I'm fine against those decks. As long as I can get off Ghost Ogre or Infinite Permanences, once I could get them if I can. Shoutouts to my girlfriend, V1. She supported me, gave me a lot of good looks, great person to talk to, amazing girl. Also, shout out to my family, IMG, the G family, which involves Alex Little, Edgar, Felix, Jacob, and Wesley. And then, we have, side characters that come in and go. Also, I'm just hoping that, I probably play into the next regionals in, Chamber, the format, fixes itself so that I don't have to play against, Goki or a heavy board where I can't play well with Chamber, and also the Nightmares really screw over Ojama Tree. But I think that's pretty much it.
All right, cool.